Hello, everyone, and welcome back to CIS Astana Talks. We break down key topics in Canadian education. Thanks for tuning in, and big thank you to our special guests joining us from across Canada.
And we are your hosts, Nikita and Marai from grade 11, and today our theme is funding your studies in Canada. That's mean we're going to discuss scholarship, student loans, part-time work, budgeting, and practical advice. And feel free to send your questions during the session because at the end we're going to have a Q&A session with audience.
Okay. So we would like to begin, and we'd like to ask each of panel's representatives to briefly introduce yourself and give us a quick elevator pitch about your university. And maybe we can start with Akbar from EBC.
Hello, everyone. So early in the morning in Vancouver. Please forgive me if I am slow, but yeah, I'm Akbar. I'm a recruiter, international student recruiter and advisor at University of British Columbia. I'm originally from Kazakhstan, and I actually went to UBC as an international student back in 2018. And now I work here as an international student recruiter. I really love my job. I really like UBC. Short pitch. Okay, three main things. One is that we're well known for our academic excellency. We're in top 40 in the world. Second, we're famous for our beautiful campuses. We have a lot of nature. Nature is very accessible. Mountains, ocean, forest is really beautiful. And the third, maybe last one, is that students get a lot of opportunities outside of classroom. Like they can do research, go on internships, exchanges, student clubs, all things like that.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Okay. You can.
Maybe we can move to the next university. Yeah. For example, Mount Allison University.
Hi, everyone. Good evening and good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Tayyib. I am from the beautiful Mount Allison University. I'm originally from Pakistan, and I started my degree at Mount Allison University in 2019. I graduated with the Bachelor of Science in Psychology and Biology in 2022, and ever since I've been working as the International Recruitment and Admissions Counselor at Mount Allison University, helping other kids come here. I had a great experience at Mount A. We're a small liberal arts university located in the town of Sackville in the province of New Brunswick, so it's on the east coast of Canada. We offer 6 flexible degree programs. We're primarily undergraduate, so most of our programs are bachelor's level. So we offer Bachelor of Arts, Science, Music, Fine Arts, Commerce, and a new program that we introduced a few years ago called Bachelor of Arts and Science in Health Studies. Additionally, we are ranked the #1 undergraduate university in Canada by the Maclean's magazine. In fact, over the last 30 years, we were ranked #1 25 times. It's a huge deal for us. This year we are #2 in Canada, primarily undergraduate university in Canada, to offer the most student awards, and #4 on financial aid and student and financial aid and scholarships. And I'd love to talk. I'd love to explore more as the questions come. But thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you. And our third guest is St. Mary's University.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Lauren Cullen, and I'm the Director of Student Recruitment here at St. Mary's University, also on the beautiful east coast of Canada, so not too far away from Mount Allison University. St. Mary's University is located in Halifax, the capital of the province of Nova Scotia. We are one of the oldest public universities in Canada. Today, we are home to 6,000 students, making us just the perfect size campus. So we tend to attract students who are looking for a tight-knit campus community, wraparound support service, and a primarily undergraduate campus feel. But in the heart of an amazing city, Halifax has around 500,000 people. We offer programs in business, science, engineering, liberal arts, and environmental studies, with options for paid internships in almost all of our majors. And we are ranked number 3 in Canada in the primarily undergraduate category. So thanks so much. It's great to be here and looking forward to connecting with everyone on this call.
Thank you. And let's hear York University.
Hi, thank you so much for having us today. My name is Anushree. I'm the recruitment manager at York University. So the 3 things that I'd like to tell you about my university is, first and foremost, we're based in Toronto. So we're close to downtown, approximately 20 minutes away from here. We have 3 campuses. So depending on what your interests are in terms of the courses that you're planning to study or the kind of environment that you want to study in, we do have 3 options available for you. We offer a number of scholarships and our tuition fees are fairly affordable. Plus, we do have a number of on-campus housing available. So if you're looking to come and join us at York University, I'm happy to share more insights as the event goes ahead. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. And our 5th guest is Toronto University.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Natasha Bielich. I'm the Assistant Director of International Student Recruitment at the University of Toronto. Delighted to be a part of this amazing cross-country panel of Canadian institutions today. For the University of Toronto, there's basically 3 things that we want students to know about U of T. One is that we are Canada's top research university and also one of the world's best. We ranked 21st in the world according to the Times Higher Education this year. Of course, you shouldn't pick a university just on their rankings alone, but I think that what that speaks to for us is degree portability. So if you came to U of T for an undergraduate degree, a master's degree, or anything at any point in your academic journey, you can take that U of T degree anywhere you want to go. The second thing we want students to know is that we're part of a network of communities in the City of Toronto and the Greater Toronto Area. The City of Toronto is Canada's largest city and North America's 4th largest city, right behind New York City, Mexico City, and LA. So everything you can imagine that a big city in North America can offer you, you will find here in the City of Toronto. And we have 3 campuses that span the Greater Toronto Area that students get to choose from. And the third thing that I'll just quickly mention is that we have over 700 different programs at the undergraduate level that you can choose from. You can mix and match your majors, your minors, and you can do external opportunities like co-op programs, research, and all that sort of stuff, and really have your own unique experience at the University of Toronto. So thank you so much for having me today, and I'm delighted to get started with the panel.
Thank you. So now that we've introduced ourselves, let's start with our first topic, which is we'll talk about scholarships, bursaries, and financial aid. And our first question to all of you, I mean, everyone can answer. When your committee reviews scholarship files, which single element, such as maybe grades, leadership, the personal AC, or something else, which single element most often tips the decision and why? There's a function on Teams you can raise your hand. So like we see the order in which, got it, thank you. Okay, so Ms. Anushree.
Hi, thank you so much. So at York University, we have 2 options available for students. One is an automatic scholarship that is completely based on your grades. So it doesn't matter, you don't have to submit additional application. We just look at your grades and then we give you a scholarship. So there are 4 different slabs available depending on what percentage you fall under. And accordingly, a scholarship is allotted to you. But we also have a larger amount of scholarship, which is worth approximately 40,000 Canadian dollars for each year that you're studying with us. So it's available for all the 4 years individually. That is an application-based scholarships and in order to apply for that, we do need an application docket. That means you're submitting an application form explaining to us why you should be awarded. And over here, we want to see your leadership skills, your ability to transform outside of classroom, and what you can achieve and how you would probably plan to use your current experience at the university to further support students or the community in general. So that's the application docket that you need to prepare for us. There are deadlines that you need to keep in mind. Tentatively, it's the 2nd weekend of February, and the applications would start by December. So those are the 2 scholarships that are available at York University.
Okay, Okay, thank you for your answer. Ms. Natasha.
Yeah, thank you. So the single most important thing for U of T when it comes to scholarships are grades. The vast majority of our scholarships at U of T are merit-based. And so when a student applies to the university, we're automatically going to consider them both for things that we call entrance awards, which are just one-time scholarships that you might get for the start of your first year, to some larger international scholar awards that are renewable for up to 4 years. I'll add a link in the chat for everyone to see if they have a chance to click on it, because that links to the list of all of the scholarships available to international students. We do have some that are those entrance awards, as I mentioned, that are $5,000 to $10,000 scholarships for the start of your first year, to those larger renewable ones that can be upwards of $20,000 to $40,000 Canadian per year, renewable for all 4 years. These ones you're automatically considered for when you apply to the university. There's no separate application, as I said. We do have one scholarship that does require an application, and that is the Lester B. Pearson International Scholarship. That is the largest scholarship that we have at the University of Toronto, and that is basically a full ride to the university. So it covers the cost of tuition, housing, books, and all of that for all 4 years. And I'll add a link to that in the chat as well. That Pearson Scholarship does require a separate application, and it also requires a school nomination. So you'll want to have a chat with your school counselor if you're interested in being nominated for this one. And this one does look at things like extracurricular participation, leadership skills, anything that you do outside the classroom. We want to know about it for the Pearson Scholarship.
Thank you. So next is Mr. Zaya.
Yes. So at Mount Allison, we have a very holistic approach to admissions and scholarship, which means we don't just look at your grades, we look at your overall application. So all the supporting documents that you have, all the leadership, extracurriculars, community involvement, and also your life events as well. So just your entire application is considered when we're processing your application for admission and scholarship. That being said, merit is a huge part of it. So there's different categories of scholarships and financial aid that we provide. The first one is entrance scholarship. It's not competitive at all. It can range anywhere between $4,000 to $20,000, and it is heavily influenced by the grades that you have in your high school. However, if you have extracurriculars, leadership, community involvement, volunteer, if you play sports, you can get additional scholarship on top of this. It's not competitive at all, which means as long as we receive your application before the deadline, usually it's March 1st. So as long as you apply before the deadline, you will automatically be considered for these scholarships. You don't have to separately apply for them either. We would do all that work for you. So you just have to apply for admission, and we would automatically assess your application for the entrance scholarship as well. The second category we have are major scholarships. So as the name suggests, they are higher in value. Again, those are also considered on a holistic approach. We also have a holistic approach to those as well. So your grades are considered, but we also consider your extracurriculars and leadership and community involvement as well. So the highest one that we have is called the Marjorie Young Bell Scholarship. It's valued at $70,000, and students have the option to include internships as well. So in your second, third, and fourth year, you would have the opportunity to include internships to get additional money added to your bank, basically. And then this scholarship is not just money as well. It comes with a lot of mentorship. So the Bell Scholars are paired with mentors that would guide them through their degree as well. And there's some internships and opportunities that are specifically offered to these Bell Scholars. The Bell Scholarship, because it's major, it is competitive. So every year we offer around 8 to 10 Bell Scholarships, and everyone is eligible for them. So you can be an international student, you can be a Canadian student as well. So everyone is considered. And again, for Bell Scholarship, the criteria is merit. So your grades do matter, but we also consider your extracurriculars and leadership involvement. The third category is the need-based financial bursaries. So those are fully need-based. Nothing to do with merit, nothing to do with your high school grades. So as long as you demonstrate financial need, there's a separate application for that. So as long as you demonstrate the financial need, you get scholarship, you get a bursary. That can range anywhere between $1,500 to $20,000. And those have subcategories. So one of them is a minor and one of them is a major. So the minor one can range anywhere between $1,500 to $3,000, and you can apply for them once every semester, basically. So whenever you come across financial need, you can submit a new application and you will get more money. The major one, those are they have some more specific criteria. but you're welcome to apply for those as well, and you can apply for them multiple times during your degree. Now, $1,500 is the minimum that you get as a bursary, which may not sound a lot, but the university, Mount Allison University, we're located in a small town, so $1,500 can cover up to 1 to 2 months of living expenses for you. And then there's a fourth category that we support our students through on-campus employment and student employment and internships. So we have an Office of Experiential Learning that helps students with internships and student employment. All of our internships are paid, and that's another way we support our students financially. I will also attach a link in the chat in case someone wants to explore.
Yeah, thank you. That's actually a lot of options. Like, I mean, ways you can help students. Like,
Yeah.
well, so we pass the mic to Miss Lauren. Miss Lauren.
Great. Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Great. So at St. Mary's University, our entrance scholarships are merit-based. So they're mainly based on your grades. So when students apply from their final year of high school, should they submit and complete their application by February 15th of their senior year, they'll be automatically considered for entrance scholarships, and those are based on grades. So this year, for students who had the equivalent of an 80% and higher entrance average, they were put in a competitive pool to be assessed for entrance awards. And this year, those ranged from 5,000 to 8,000 Canadian dollars. And our total tuition fees are about 27,000 Canadian dollars per the year. There are additional awards like my colleagues have mentioned that do require separate applications, such as our Presidential and Santa Marian scholarships. Once again, they are due by February 15th. And they do require a separate application that demonstrates evidence of involvement in the school community or surrounding community and a recommendation from a school counselor, teacher, or principal. And I'll put a link into the chat here as well for folks to check out if they'd like to learn more. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So last but not least, Mr. Akbar from UBC.
Yes, very much similar to other universities. We have mainly like two types of scholarships. One is called merit-based. So for merit-based, you don't need to submit a separate application. You'll be automatically considered when you apply to UBC. Those range from $10,000 up to $40,000 for your first year and up to $20,000 renewable for 4 years. And then we have merit and need-based program that can cover all your financial needs, basically like a full ride. And for this one, you need to submit a separate application by November 15th, and you'll need to be nominated by your high school. We accept 2 nominations for UBC Vancouver campus and 1 nomination for UBC Okanagan campus. And good news, every year, a few students from Kazakhstan actually receive one of our International Scholar Program awards. We also have other scholarships like athletic scholarships. For example, if you're amazing, competitive, high-level athlete, you may get an athletic scholarship from our varsity team. For that one, you have to submit a separate application to our varsity team. And if a coach is interested, they will be reaching out to you directly. So I guess these are the main scholarships. And the one thing, like your question was about, I think, what was the most important thing in the application? I guess they're competitive, so you want to have the best grades as possible, the highest grades as you can. But of course, we also look at your essays that you write when you apply to UBC, and if you're applying for the National Scholars Program, this is like super competitive program. So all your activities inside, outside of school, your contributions to the community are all very important.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so moving on to the next question. And for the sake of time, we'd like, I mean, if you are not sure like how to answer that question, you can like not answer this one, but answer the next one. So like it's okay. Not everyone has to answer. Yeah.
Yeah. And now our next question is about after the first year, what concrete bursary or like emergency grant program can students still tap into, like even if they're already studying there, and what kind of criteria do you use to award them to this program? So anyone who wants to answer this question, you can raise your hands. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. At St. Mary's, we do have a great team of financial aid and award officers. They work just down the hall from me, so I see them on a very regular basis, and they connect with students one-on-one. So they do have an emergency bursary program to help students, in a tight situation if they need support with getting food, books, and things like that. We also have a really active community food room on campus as well that students can access. We also highly encourage students to connect with our teammates in the career and experiential learning office, as international students are allowed to work while they are in Canada. And this is the case for any of our university campus here. International students can work up to 24 hours per week while they study and full-time during breaks. So that's also a great way to not only gain some international work experience, but also earn some money to help with the cost of living and studying in Canada.
Thank you.
I'll just add to that to say that at U of T, we have things called in-course scholarships. So that means like after your first year, if your GPA was really strong in first year, second year, third year, fourth year, you could receive additional automatic scholarships based on your campus, your faculty, or your program that you're a part of. We have almost 6,000 in-course scholarships for current students at the undergraduate level at U of T. So there's additional funding that way. Some of those are automatic, as I said, just based purely on GPA. Some of them are based on community involvement at U of T. So if you're involved in student leadership programs, if you're part of the student union, if you're involved in your faculty, your campus, your program, for example, there may be additional scholarships that you can apply for once you're a student at the university in the middle of your studies. At U of T as well, we also do, as Lauren mentioned, for St. Mary's, we have emergency grants for international students. So if you were ever living off campus and you were short rent for 1 month, you can come to U of T and ask for emergency funding, and we can offer that to you as a grant to help support you in your studies here. And similar to what Lauren mentioned, of course, working is an option when you're a student in Toronto or in Ontario.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Tayab?
Okay, it's gonna feel like I'm copying both of their words, but it's very similar at Mount Allison University as well. So the scholarships that I mentioned in my last answer, they're all renewable. So all you have to do is maintain a good GPA. For a lot of scholarships, a CGPA of 3.7. So as long as you have that, your scholarship is automatically renewed for the next year. And similarly, we also have a food bank on campus where students can go at any time without any questions asked. They can grab whatever they need. It's free of cost. The Mount Allison Student Union, they also do so every bi-weekly and also sometimes every month. They have their food program where they would make big grocery packages and give it out to students at a very discounted rate, so all less than 50%. And those usually include like fresh vegetables and different foods. And again, like we also have a financial bursary. I mentioned it in my last answer as well. So students are able to apply for them once every semester. And even if you get the minimum amount, that is $1,500, that is still enough to support you for at least 2 months in Sackville, which is a very small town.
Okay, thank you. And thank you so much for your answers. And now let's move to our second section. It's about student loans. And our first question is, could you outline the key difference in cost and repayment terms between a Canadian government student loan and a private bank line of credit that international students sometimes obtain with their co-signer?
Yeah, it's a bit difficult question.
Yeah.
But in general, can international students even get loans from bank or the government in Canada? Or are there any some special loans for international students? It's a broad question. Yeah. We can repeat the question if you'd like.
I can maybe start, and then we can other people can chime in if it's different in the province, but certainly in the province of Ontario, and I think for the most of us that are here on the panel today, we are publicly funded institutions, and the vast majority of any sort of financial aid support, traditional financial aid support, things like bursaries, loans, grants, those are typically reserved for Canadian citizens. Even Canadians outside of Canada may be eligible for some of those before they come to Canada or when they come to Canada. So the vast majority, I know certainly that's true for U of T, most of the financial aid support that we have have in the form of bursaries and grants, which are non-repayable, and loans, which are repayable, are reserved for Canadian citizens and permanent residents of Canada. Outside of that, like the university also only offers bursaries and grants to those students. The loan portions are typically funded through each province in Ontario. So each province has their own financial aid program for Canadians that are typically not open to international students traditionally. Is that true for everybody? I'm looking across at all the panelists.
That's accurate, yeah.
Yeah. So students would then ultimately be looking at private lenders potentially to get additional funding to come and study at a Canadian institution.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
So we get it's the same for all universities. So yeah, so let's move to the next question.
Yes, so another question. How long do students typically have before they must start repaying, and what events, like dropping to part-time, graduating, or taking a gap term, start the repayment clock? Like if it's even possible. Okay, Miss Lauren.
Sure, I can just jump in and follow up to Natasha's point. So unfortunately, there aren't student loans available for international students at Canadian public universities. But I'll also add to that for this question is that as international students, when you're in Canada, you are required to have a valid study permit, which is your student visa. The conditions of that does require you to be enrolled full-time during the regular academic year, which runs from September until the end of April. So in both of those terms, September to December and January to April, you are required to be enrolled full-time. So if you were to take a gap semester or to go to part-time studies, that would be a violation of your study permit. So technically it's not a viable possibility for you as international students. But there's in the summertime, so May to August, you are able to work full-time and take a bit of a break from your studies during that regular scheduled academic programming break.
Okay, thank you.
Is this for everyone? Okay, yes. I wanted to ask another question. So you mentioned these schemes work mostly for Canadian citizens, but do they work the same way? Maybe different for those who study at Canadian schools across the globe, maybe a Canadian school in France or even here in Kazakhstan. Do they get the same treatment as international student or more lenient, something more lenient? Okay, yeah, Mr. Tasha.
So it really depends. It comes down to a student and their citizenship, not necessarily the academic program or the high school that they're in. So if a student's status in Canada means, and they're a Canadian citizen or maybe a permanent resident or working on their PR for Canada, that would then make them potentially eligible for some financial aid programs. In the case of U of T, then, if that was a student coming to U of T, they would be eligible for a different set of scholarships. So not those international scholar awards that are the high value renewable scholarships. Canadian citizens or permanent residents of Canada would be considered automatically for some of our other entrance awards. So there is a difference when it comes to scholarships. And then those Canadians and PRs would then potentially be eligible for some financial aid through the financial aid, the provincial financial aid program here in Ontario.
Okay, Ms. Anushri.
Just to add to that, when you're applying to any university in Canada or internationally, there are two sets of applications that you submit, one as a domestic student, one as an international. So your tuition fees are also different, and therefore the scholarships that you apply for will be different as well, because your tuition fee as a domestic student, which means a Canadian national or a PR, would be lesser than an international, and therefore your scholarships would be smaller in amount because your overall tuition fee is less. As an international student, holding a country other than Canada's passport means you are eligible for international fees only. You may be studying at a Canadian international school in a different country. It might give you an edge in terms of the academics, because your academics would be similar to students who are studying in Canada, but it won't make any difference to the tuition fee and therefore the scholarships that are available to students who are studying at CIS across the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, Mr. Tab.
Yeah, what Natasha and Anushri said, they are true for us as well. I just wanted to highlight for us, it's a little different because for our entrance scholarship and the major scholarship program, it's the same play field. So international students are considered the same way a Canadian student would, so there's no difference in that. Of course, when you're coming from an international background, so for example, if you're doing an IB program, if you're coming from Cambridge program, we understand that these curriculums are much difficult than an average Canadian curriculum. So when we convert your average to a Canadian average, your average will be higher than so that would make you be eligible for additional scholarship, but it does depend on your citizenship and your permanent residency status. So if you're a Canadian permanent resident or a citizen, you you would have additional scholarships to choose from. For international students, it is a little limited, but for our main scholarship program and financial aid program is open to everyone. That goes the same for bursaries and financial aid that we offer on a need based. In that case, we don't consider your citizenship or your student status. It's the same for everyone. So as for the only criteria for that is you have a need for additional finances, and that's it. You just have to demonstrate the need for that.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I hope these answers clarified like for most people. Okay, so we move on to the next section. So we'd like to talk about part-time work in universities. And so regarding on-campus jobs, which positions like library assistant, residence mentor, or a research helper, like which positions hire international students quickest? And what can the first years do this summer to get a head start? Yeah, so we see, so Miss, I'm not sure you're the first one.
So at York University, we do have a number of options for students available. You do have the option of working as a research assistant, especially if you're going to courses that belong to the Faculty of Science or Faculty of Health, because these are more research-oriented programs. So of course, research assistant jobs are more practical for the students. But we also have a library. We have a number of restaurants on campus where you can go and do part-time work. I think the areas that hire faster is where we need international students the most. So that would be at York International, which supports international incoming students trying to apply for visas. It's my team, which is the recruitment team, where we require support from international students who will share their experience from the application stage to getting the offer letter, coming to Canada, and what it's like while they're studying here. So maybe taking part in panels such as these, where they can share their experience along with critical information from our end. They also help incoming students on campus tours, and they help with any inbox related queries that they might have. So we have like a dedicated staff available that requires support from student ambassadors. So working as a student ambassador either at your own faculty or working with the international team or at the central team, that's my team, or with York International. These are some of the most quickly absorbed roles, and something that students definitely look forward to because it's basically sharing your personal experience.
Got it, thank you. So Miss Lauren.
Thank you. At St. Mary's, we hire more than 1,000 students per year in part-time on-campus jobs. To give you some examples, we have students who work in our office and our new Student Welcome Center, giving campus tours and welcoming prospective students. Lots of students who work in food services and catering, the library as research assistants, supporting campus security, and lots more. I don't know if one particular area hires faster than another, but all of the jobs are posted internally in a system that we call Career 360. So international students can access that, and we encourage them to apply and connect with our amazing career coaches as well. I will also note that our St. Mary's University Student Association, which is positions like the SPUSA president, for example, that are elected by the St. Mary's student body. For the past number of years, our student president and VPs have been international students.
Okay. So in general, like every position like is equal to apply. Like
They are.
there's also a careers class.
Yes.
Okay. So Mr. Akbar, it's your turn.
Yeah, similar to UBC, we have like all kinds of jobs on campus, including like research assistant, residence advisor, library, referee, I don't know, so many different jobs. Really up to the students to choose, and it's really hard to say which one is the quickest to hire because it really depends on the specific department and specific timing. Like sometimes they just need someone urgently, maybe they'll hire quickly. Sometimes it's a cycle and it may take longer and maybe multiple rounds of interviews. It really depends on the job. It really depends on the specific time of the year or like the moment, like maybe department is in high need at that specific moment. In terms of getting an edge and like in getting a job, I would say it's important to connect with your career advisor. So we also have a career service where students can go like beforehand, get advice on how to like tailor their resume to specific jobs, how to prepare for a job interview. Because like if you're from Kazakhstan, for example, or any other country other than Canada, it will be very different. Like work culture is different in different countries. The way you approach job search is also different. So you want to learn these things before you start looking for your job so you can make it more effective. And also, networking is very important. It's important to connect with your professors. If you're looking for research positions or maybe teaching assistant jobs, it's really important to connect with your professors, talk to them, ask questions, show your interest, ask maybe if they're planning to do a new research project and they're looking for people to hire. Same goes to maybe other staff members at university. Like I get invites from students like, hey, let's go for coffee. I would love to learn about your job. And so these things are really important, building connections. And then later on, when you're applying for a job, you can stand out by like, you know more about this specific job. So you can write more in your cover letter. When you go to a job interview, you're better prepared because you know what the specific department is looking for. So I feel like networking and being proactive, these things really help with job search.
Okay, so it's essential to have connections like with your mentors, your teachers, and your friends that can like help you. Yes, so Mr. Tayab.
Okay, this is a very special topic for me. Being a very recent Mount Allison graduate, I have personal experience with university services. So Mount Allison University, we're a small university located in a very small town, which means students usually come on campus to study, to play, to work, and then they just go home at night. um, or they live on campus. So there's a lot of different opportunities. So we're primarily undergraduate university. So a lot of the times the opportunities that you will see at Mount Allison University, in a larger university, you would usually see master's or PhD students doing those opportunities. For example, almost all of our teaching assistants are undergraduate students. All of our academic mentors, tutors, research assistants are usually all undergraduate students. Um, and then there's other opportunities such as campus ambassador. So you met my colleague Adil a few weeks ago. He gave a talk on the student experience as a Kazakh student in Mount Allison University. So he's one of the campus ambassador. He also worked in international center. So international center is the positions are usually open only to international students to support other international incoming students. He was the international orientation chair, which means he organized the international orientation um, a year ago. Um, and then we have our Office of Experiential Learning. The Office of Experiential Learning is very special because they provide you some very individualized support. So when you arrive on campus, we understand that a lot of international students don't have a resume. Personally, I did not even know what a resume was when I came here, and I take no shame in that. And when I came here, I went to the Office of Experiential Learning. They sat down with me and they made me a resume. Well, we worked on it together, and then they taught me how to write a cover letter, and then one of their staff member taught me how to prepare for an interview. And just after a few weeks of me going through those workshops, I landed a job in the registrar's office where I worked throughout my degree. So I started in my second semester in the registrar's office, and I worked in the registrar's office for the rest of my time, so almost 3.5 years. That was very special. It was a very special experience because it led me to where I am right now. I currently work in the registrar's office and as a part of the admissions team. The Office of Experiential Learning offers a great variety of programs and internships. There's a program called DIY, which stands for Design Your Own Internship. So, for example, if you have a hobby and you'd like to change it into a career, there's a lot of opportunities on that. I'll give you a few examples. So, one of my friends, his full-time job for the summer, and mind you, he was getting paid for it, was a podcast. So we have a radio station on campus. So he was running his podcast through there, getting paid for it, and his podcast was trending in Pakistan for some reason. Another friend of mine, her full-time job was basically researching and writing a book. So over the period of summer, she wrote a book, a children's book, and she just finished her master's program from Oxford University in England just last month. So there's a lot of professional level internships. One thing I would highlight is the Office of Experiential Learning. They have a connection with the Future NB program. So Future NB program is a governmentally funded program. It's a government program that supports international students in our province, which is New Brunswick. So they offer different workshops on campus. So they would come on campus one week, they would run a workshop on how to write a resume. The next week would be how to write a cover letter, how to prepare for an interview, and then how to set up your LinkedIn profile and how to maintain a LinkedIn profile. And after attending these workshops, usually there's 5 or 6 workshops, they connect you with potential employers in the area, online, in the province, so you can get some professional experience. One example I would give is two of my friends, both from Pakistan, international students. As a student, they did their internships in Deloitte. Deloitte is one of the big four accountancy firms in Canada. After graduation, because they had all that experience to back them up, after graduation, they're currently working in Deloitte as well. Um, so those are just some of the things, and I would also mention that all of the opportunities that you get under experiential learning, internships, design your own internships program, everything is paid. So you get money for it, but if they're very closely related to your program, so for example, if you're a biology student doing internship in a research realm, you get course credit as well. So there's a lot of different opportunities around that.
Yeah, okay. So besides the regular jobs, there's availability to propose your own work, like you mentioned, with the book and podcast. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So you can design your own internships. Similarly, if you're an entrepreneur, you're interested in starting your own business, you can actually get funding for it as well. And similarly, if you're a science student, if you have a research idea, you can get funding for your research as well. All of this funding is not a loan, which means you don't have to pay it back.
Oh, that is really cool. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and since we discussed on-campus jobs, let's talk about off-campus jobs. So near your campuses, is there which job sectors like retail or maybe tech support have proven most flexible with 20 hours per week limit on study permits? Because no, what is the limit of hours of work per week? And I would like to hear UBC because I heard that you have a lot of different job sectors near your campus. So I would like to hear your answer to that question.
Sure. I just want to give a disclaimer first. I'm not immigration consultant or advisor, so just keep that in mind. But as far as I know right now, international students are allowed to work unlimited hours on campus and up to 24 hours off campus. So yeah, technically on campus you can work as much as you want, but of course your studies are the priority. And student jobs on campus are all pretty flexible. Like they know that you're students and they know that they're hiring students, so they'll be flexible with you. Like students who work at our department, their managers, they often they always sit down with them and discuss how their schedule looks like, what would be the best hours for them to work, and things like that. So they really make it flexible for students. In terms of job sectors, I mean, Vancouver is a big city, and there are different jobs on campus. Yeah, we have everything. I don't know, there's a hospital on campus. There are sports facilities. There are concerts that happen on campus. And actually, I know a student from Kyrgyzstan who worked as a events coordinator. So she organized concerts that happen on campus, for example. So there are different jobs. Outside of campus, it's like all sectors that are available, like yes, IT, banking. We have banking branches on campus. I imagine other universities also have them. So yeah, you can work at a bank on campus, for example, and they often hire students as well. So if you're studying maybe business or something like that, that would be a good experience for you. What else? Oh, yeah, like I said, nature, right? So in Vancouver and in Okanagan campus, students can work like in a forest or in a research facility that works directly with nature. On campus at UBC Vancouver campus, we have a farm where students also can work and I don't know, raise crops and uh, get produce for actually the produce from farm goes into back into our residences, and students and staff also eat what we grow at our UBC farm. So as a student you can work at the farm. So there are all kinds of sectors and jobs that you can get, but again, unlimited hours on campus, up to 24 hours off campus.
Okay, so technically you don't need to go even outside to work because you have everything on campus.
Yeah, I actually recommend students to go and get jobs or explore outside of campus. I notice students tend to stay on campus because, like you said, yeah, we have a lot of things, but I think it's important to also see like the bigger world, what's happening outside of campus, and not just stay in one kind of bubble.
Okay, thank you. So if anyone wants to share, like to answer to this question, you can raise your hands. If no, we can move to the next question. Okay, I think we can move on. And our next part is budgeting and expenses. So since like you're an international student or just a student, you have a lot of expenses, and they are mostly like a blind side, like first year students in their first month in Canada. They like have a lot of expenses, and what are like two expenses that are like what are the two main expenses, and how can they budget for them like in advance to help them? So anyone who wants to answer? Yes.
I can go ahead. I think the two main expenses would be tuition fees, and those can range at different universities. So it's important for students when they do find the right fit institution for them to look at the tuition and fees and put that into their budget. For example, at St. Mary's University, the total cost for 1 year of study, which includes tuition fees, medical and dental insurance, and then dormitory and meals, is about 43,000 Canadian dollars. That's about 30 to 31,000 USD per year. So it's important to build that into the budget. So tuition is one expense, and then the other is the living expenses. So certainly students can decide what's the best fit for them, whether they choose to live on or off campus. I always recommend living on campus, at least for the first year. Sometimes students will live on campus for all 4 years. It's super convenient, but that's something to factor when making your overall budget.
Thank you. And Mr. Tayab?
Thank you. So our full year tuition fee is similar to St. Mary's as well. So our full year tuition fees, including international tuition fees, housing, an estimate of textbook that you'll be buying over the year, and everything included. It's between $38,000 to $40,000 Canadian. And one thing I would mention is we're a smaller university. So getting a scholarship and financial aid is easier. So people who like numbers, more than 80% of our incoming students, international and domestic, they come in with an entrance scholarship or some type of entrance award. So getting a scholarship that automatically reduces your cost of tuition fees at least, and then you can apply for, again, every semester you can apply for financial aid that you can use towards your tuition fees or your expenses, living expenses. On top of that, you're able to work as well. One thing that we do off the bat is we understand that being an international student is very difficult, not just financially and all, but also you're moving from one country to another. It's a difficult transition, so we want to make sure you're very supportive. So when you enroll into Mount Allison University, you're automatically covered under the international medical insurance, which is around $800. However, when you come here, we help you opt out of it because the province of New Brunswick offers a medical insurance for free to international students. So one thing we do off the bat is we help you apply for that free insurance. So once you get that free insurance, you get the $800 back and you don't have to pay it again. So it's the small things that we do for international students and for all of our students at a very individual level, that would help you. The Office of Experiential Learning, they also run different workshops on how to manage your funds. And we have banks coming on campus once you, so this is all during the international orientation. The first week when you arrive on campus, we present different workshops to help you thrive at Mount A. So different banks would come on campus and they would offer you different discounts. For example, RBC comes on campus and they're usually when you open a student account with them for the first time, you get $100. Different banks do a similar thing. Sometimes they give you an iPad. And then similarly, they teach you what all the different types of accounts that you can avail. So there's checking account, there's a TFSA if you're above 19, and there's different types of savings account that students can manage their funds in. So there's a lot of different opportunities. Again, this is one of the things where it takes a little bit of initiative from the student as well. So if you're the type of person who's looking for work, it just takes a step from you to reach out to the person who can help you.
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Natasha, you can answer.
Thank you. So this is usually where the University of Toronto is a little bit of an outlier when it comes to costs because our tuition is on the higher sort of range for Canadian institutions. So for a student coming to the University of Toronto, for example, they'd be looking to budget around $55,000 to $60,000 US for 1 year, including tuition and housing. As Lauren mentioned, if students are living on campus or off campus, if they choose to live off campus, one of the things that I think sometimes students forget to think about is the cost of commuting. So whether that's a monthly transit pass, sometimes that's built into your student fees. It's not at the University of Toronto for two of our campuses. So that is something you'll want to consider as well, in addition to the tuition, housing, and books that you might be expending for that year, the expenses you might have for that year. So the commuting cost can be something to consider as well. I'm going to add a link in the chat for the resources that we have for international students when it comes to finances at U of T. So it talks a little bit about some of what Tyad mentioned with the banking and scholarships and working on campus and all that sort of stuff that you'll find on our website there.
Okay, thank you. And
yes, so moving on to the next question. So housing usually takes lots of money and resources. And so are there affordable options such as co-op residences, homestays, shared apartments, or something else? Which of these options have you seen work best in your city? And Miss Natasha.
Can start with that one. For the City of Toronto, we have a little bit of everything here for students. And again, as Lauren mentioned, with students living on campus, really encourage that, especially for their first year. And at U of T, we'll guarantee housing for a student's first year across all three of our campuses. It's not mandatory, but I would encourage it as well for students just to help get orientated to both campus and the city that they're in. And then we do have a housing office available across all three of our campuses that focuses on getting students housing on campus at U of T, but then there's also a subsection of that office that focuses on off-campus housing. So we'll have landlords who will come and list their places with us specifically for students. We also have a roommate finder, which is kind of like you basically put in your profile if you're looking for a roommate, and it will try and match you with someone who's also similarly looking for a roommate. So there's opportunities like that. There's also co-ops around the campus as well if students wanted to be in a co-op kind of environment. So there's a lot of opportunities. But one thing I would really say is take advantage of the housing offices on our campuses that can really help connect you with those resources and those opportunities.
Oh, got it. Thank you. Okay, so Ms. Anushree.
So we have this option where students can do a 4-year guaranteed residence with us, which means they can stay on campus. Our on-campus residence fees range generally from 7,000 Canadian dollars all the way to 11,000, depending on what kind of accommodation you want to stay in. Typically, we have two housing options available. The first one is a traditional housing where you have your common room that you're sharing with one other person, a common bathroom that you're sharing with maybe 5 to 10 other people who are staying on the same floor. And then there's a common area where you just convene and have like dinners together. However, there is no kitchen available, so you do need to enroll for a meal plan on campus, and you get food that is available on campus at a discounted rate. We also have an ensuite option wherein you have the opportunity to have a private room and a private bathroom, but you have a common area with a kitchen attached so that you can cook your own meals. Typically, the American style dorms, which is the common housing, is more cheaper than the ensuite ones. But we also noticed that the more sharing space that you take, the less you pay. So depending on how comfortable you are with having people in your personal space, you may either want to opt for a cheaper accommodation with a traditional housing, or might want to stay with an ensuite and have access to a private bathroom as well as a private room. Yeah, that's the different options that are available. While we don't have as much support as University of Toronto for off-campus accommodations, we do help students understand what are the things that they need to keep in mind when they're selecting off-campus accommodations. Just because we understand that as an international students, you might not know what the potential risks or the red flags are, so we just highlight those for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Tail, or to you.
I would definitely echo my colleagues' thoughts that we also recommend, especially international students, to stay on campus for at least their first year, just because it's an easier transition. There's a lot of supports available on campus that you won't be able to find off campus. For example, we have 8 different buildings, and every building has a what we call parent of the house. It's an adult person living inside that building, and they're basically available. They had a knock on the door away. So every time you need something, you would just go to them and they would help you. So these are some types of resources that you won't be able to find, and they're very valuable in making you feel like you're at home. Um, our cost also varies depending on what type of room that you're living in. For example, if you're living in a kind of like a hotel room, so you have your own bedroom with your attached bathroom and some amenities like microwave and TV and fridge, and that's going to be very expensive. It's the most expensive. It's around $10,000 per year. But if you share a room with maybe 2 people, that reduces your cost. If you share a room with one other person, that's somewhere in the middle. So it just depends on where you're comfortable in. Again, we don't have kitchens on campus, so you would have to purchase a meal plan. But one cool thing about our meal plan is unlimited, which means you can go at any time of the day, as many times as you want in a day, and you will still find something to eat. This is very important because as a student, you usually have back-to-back classes during the daytime. So a lot of the time, students don't find the time to get lunch at the set lunch hours. But even if you go after that, after your classes are done, even if it's outside of that lunch hour, you would still find something to eat, and it's all included in your unlimited meal plan. Off-campus housing. We're a very small town, which means everything is on a walking distance away from us. So even if you were to walk from one end of the town to the next end of the town, it would take you like 10 to 15 minutes. So even if you're living off campus, you would still be very close to the university. It's a matter of finding the right support that you won't find off campus that you will on campus. So the general culture that we see is students would come on campus for first year, make a few friends, and at the end of the first year, they would all get an apartment or a house together off campus. Off campus housing, one good thing about that is your rent is basically divided into per month instead of paying one bulk fee of like per semester or per year. Um, we don't offer direct support for off campus as well. However, we have a handbook as well, just letting students know what are the pros and cons of staying off campus. There's a campus off campus directory that we have on our website. So you're able to contact landlords, and we just show you what the lease system is, how to rent a place and stuff. I would say it's very beneficial living on campus, especially just because as an international student, you're already changing your countries. It's nice to not wash the dishes right away. So let someone else take care of you. And even with communal washrooms, I know a lot of people run away from those. But one good thing about that is you don't have to clean them. It's just those small things that that you'd rather focus on your studies. If you're living in a private room, you are responsible of cleaning it as well. So it's just added responsibility that a lot of international students, then if you already have a very busy schedule, you won't have time for those.
Yeah, thank you. So we got the question from the audience. Yes, there will be a recording, so you don't have to worry if you miss something. Yeah. So a word to Akbar.
I was gonna add to the communal washrooms. I heard a story from a student that they made a friend by just because they brushed teeth at the same time every day. So they just made a friend and they're still friends now after graduation. So yeah, communal washrooms, no cleaning, also maybe possibly making a lifetime friend. All right, I just wanted to add to what others have said already, but we have a range of different housing options on campus. First year students live in residences that are reserved for first year students, so you live with other first years, and those are usually single rooms. So where you live by yourself, and there will be a communal washroom, bathroom on the floor, and single connected rooms. It's two rooms, two single rooms, and one bathroom for those two rooms. After first year, housing is not guaranteed, but you can apply for it and it will be based on the wait list. And there you have like 4-bedroom apartments where with 2 bathrooms that are shared between 4 students, with a kitchen and living space. And we have studio apartments, 1-bedroom apartments for upper year students as well. Prices range, but generally speaking, housing on campus is cheaper than living off campus because it's purpose built for students. So there's no goal to I don't know, to make as much money as possible. So the goal is to house students. So for the quality of housing that you receive on campus, if you look for same kind of standard of living housing off campus, it will be more expensive. However, if funds are tight and you really want to find something that is as affordable as possible, you may be able to find a cheaper option off campus. However, it will be not as good, like not as comfortable, not as clean, maybe older building furniture is not as nice, and also longer commute. So you have to balance those things when you decide where to live. But I want to reiterate, first year, it's best to stay on campus. And then once you get more comfortable, make some friends, then maybe you can find a place to stay together with your friends.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Ms. Lauren.
I just have one very quick follow-up point. So I echo what all of my colleagues have said here. I strongly encourage you to live on campus if you can for your first year. You never know where you're going to make new friends, whether it's brushing your teeth or, connecting with someone in the meal hall. One little anecdote that I'll say about St. Mary's University residences is that our entire campus is located within one city block. And almost all of our buildings, including our 3 dorm buildings, are all interconnected. So it could be the middle of winter and you know who's in residence because they're walking around campus in their shorts and flip-flops. So it's very convenient, connected community.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Thank you. So it's time to wrap it up. So like our 2 last questions for you. So if you could share only just one piece of money management advice, I mean financing education advice in general, like what would this advice be? Yeah, Mr. Bar.
Is this a good time to add like one more thing that I wanted to say, but I don't think it was covered in the question?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay. So one thing that I wanted to say is that there are different ways to kind of reduce the cost of your studies in Canada. So for example, if you want to go to UBC, some students go to a college first, like a local college, maybe a publicly funded college, and then transfer to UBC into second or third year. There are colleges that have courses that are transferable directly to UBC. And oftentimes these colleges are much more affordable than going to university. So this is one pathway that you could take to reduce your overall cost of education. Let's say 2 years at a college and then 2 years at UBC. So this is one way to consider. Just be careful with your course selection when you go to a college, and that you go to a college with a good reputation that provides high quality education.
Oh, thank you. So basically, like if you have the same course like in the college, you can transfer like into the same course, but in UBC.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
There is even a portal that kind of you enter a course code and it will tell you what course you can take that is equivalent at a different college or institution.
Mhm.
And then second thing that I want to add is co-op. I believe other Canadian universities also offer co-op. It's like a paid internship program. And when you do co-op at UBC, maybe at other universities as well, you work full time. So you don't take courses. So you also don't have to pay tuition. And when you do co-op, you'll get paid. So you cover your own expenses. Probably it won't be enough to pay for your tuition in the following year, but it gives a break to you and your family to pay for your tuition. So for example, you could do 2 years of study, 1 year of co-op, so that 1 year you don't pay tuition, and then you continue your studies, then 1 year you study again, then 1 year you do co-op again. So that way you kind of break up the tuition costs over a longer span of the years. It will prolong your overall time in university, but it's not I don't want you to think as a like wasted time. It's actually you're taking advantage of all the opportunity your university provides. And then when you apply for jobs after graduation, you have more experience. So you stand out as a candidate, like on your resume, you already have a work experience. You can negotiate your salary too because you have experience to fall onto. So it's a big asset to have. So sorry for taking the time. It's just these two things I think are very important to consider when you're thinking about your finances. This is a way for you to reduce the cost or kind of break it up to make it easier for you and your family.
Yes, you mentioned that if you take co-op, it like prolongs your like school year. I mean, your study year, so you don't get credits for your co-op.
Correct. Yeah, because you're working full time. You're not taking courses.
Okay, got it. Yeah. So Miss Natasha.
I would just add, take advantage of whatever resources the institutions can offer you when it comes to things like financial planning, financial advisors, financial aid staff that you can meet with during your studies to help make sure that you're accessing all of the opportunities that we have at our institutions. For example, U of T has a student financial planning calculator that I've added in the chat so students can get a sense of what they need to budget for that year. And then ultimately, if you have any questions about how to finance your education, you can find support services through our Center for International Experience and also through our financial aid and scholarship office. So students have resources at our institutions and they should make sure to take advantage of those.
Okay.
Great. Sorry, did I jump ahead? My piece of advice is to work with folks on campus to make a budget and stick to it. It sounds easy, but it is a challenge. So that's really important because, like, again, all of our campuses have so many amazing resources for international students. That's a benefit truly of studying in Canada. We want to support our international students. So take advantage, ask questions. We're all here to help.
Thank you, Mr. Tao.
That's okay. I cannot echo it more. All the universities, whichever university you will choose, they will definitely have some resources for you. All you have to do is take advantage of those resources. And what I would recommend is start from your application process. So make sure to provide as much detail about yourself. The universities genuinely want to know you. Every university has scholarships and we want to give it to you. We don't want to keep that money for ourselves. We want to give it to you. And the more information that you provide in your application forms, on your transcripts, on your essays, the better. So, don't be shy. Just provide a lot of information and really highlight your experiences. You've spent time in high school. Being a high school student is already very difficult. So if you take time outside of your classrooms, volunteering for an activity or playing sports, make sure to highlight those things about your application. And rest assured, I'm sure every college will recognize your efforts. And ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. I know being an international student myself, I know it can be intimidating reaching out to like professors, to admission staff, to university staff, but don't be shy. We're here to help you. Anytime you have a question, shoot us an email, call us. If you want to fly and come visit Mount Allison University, come. More than welcome. But yes, ask for help and take advantage of the resources that we offer.
Yeah, Got it. Thank you for the advice. So Miss Anushka.
I definitely want to say everything that my colleagues have said is what you need to do. But other than that, there was one thing that I wanted to mention as an international student myself. Something that helped me was journaling to identify where I was spending money, where I didn't need to spend money. Some things are in your control, some things are not. Your tuition fees, your living expenses, not in your control. You have to pay there, and we will be there to assist you. There will be either scholarships that we give or financial advising services that can help you budget yourself, but there are other things that are in your control, so that requires journaling. So make sure that at least for the first few years, first few months, you're journaling and writing down where you're spending money, identifying where you can probably save, and that's going to add up over the years and will help you definitely.
Yeah, thank you very much.
And since we are like in Kazakhstan and Kazakhs, are there any Kazakhstan specific tips? Like maybe we should open a Canadian bank account early, or maybe transfer some funds in a particular way just to save our time and fees. Is there any one?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you can only open a bank account once you have actually landed in Canada. I don't think as an international student you would be eligible to open a Canadian bank account. Having said that, we do have partnerships with certain banks that can help you transfer your funds more safely, more securely. So just make sure that whichever university you end up deciding to go to, you're checking out the different payment options that are available. Some of them might have tie-ups with CIBC or Convera. These are much more secure ways of payments, and it's much more faster than a bank-to-bank transfer. So just be aware of those things.
And Mr. Tayyab?
I want to start by saying that I'm no professional in banking system. So, and this is, I wanted to just say what other students have done in the past. So, for example, there is an account called GIC account. So a lot of students have opened that in the past, where it's where you would open an account in Canada and you would deposit a sum of money in Canada. And once you arrive here, you would activate that account, and from your money, you would get a portion every month for 1 year. So it's like it's a money that you deposit in advance, but it breaks down almost like it's almost like getting a salary every month. So from your money, they will send you portions every month. But it is salary, but it's like your money. You're just getting it back. So that's something that helps students, especially in their first year. For example, if you don't have a job for the first few months, you're still getting some money every month. That's one thing that students have done in the past. And Anushree, I completely agree with your point on journaling. I've started doing it in a very recently, and it's definitely done wonders for me.
Yeah, you soon realize what an expensive person you are when you start spending your own money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, if everyone's accept everything. Yeah. Before we conclude, is there anyone in the live audience who would like to ask a question? I mean, if you have any questions.
Just credits.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
To Mr. Akbar.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you can say.
So Mr. Akbar, when we were talking about scholarships, said that one of the scholarships in his school can cover full expenses, but to get it, you need to be nominated by your high school. What does that mean?
So the program is called International Scholars Program. And yes, it can cover all your financial needs, including tuition, accommodation, meals. They even we would even give you money to fly back home once a year. So it's really a great program and a big opportunity. So we accept 3 nominations per high school. What it means is that you need to talk to your college counselor or I don't know, vice principal who can help you. Like your school has to decide what students will be nominated. So your school needs to choose 3 kind of best students who have the highest chance of getting that award. It's very important because the scholarship is very competitive, extremely competitive. And if you apply for International Scholars Program, you won't be considered for our merit-based scholarships because we assume that other scholarships will not be enough to cover your financial need. So before you even apply, you need to think, you need to talk to your family and see like what financial options you have and what would be the best program to be considered for, because also merit-based scholarships that you don't need to apply for, you don't need to be nominated for, there's a higher chance of receiving one compared to international scholars program. So yeah, it's important to talk to a college counselor to look at your grades, look at your extracurricular activities and consider your chances of receiving that scholarship before you apply. Did I answer your question?
Yes, what's your university, by the way?
University of
University of British Columbia, UBC, yeah. I believe one person from your school actually won International Scholars Program this year. So you have a good example in your upper year student.
Yeah. Thank you. So
Yes, so do you have any more questions like from the live stream, like from Teams?
yeah, you can write them in the chat and we're just gonna read them.
Yeah, okay, so we don't see any more questions. Do you have any follow-up? Okay. Yes, so it's time to conclude. Yeah, so huge thanks to our panel. So Mr. Abar from UBC, Ms. Lauren, Anushka and Natasha, thank you very much for joining us today. And Mr. Taya, yeah.
And we hope that today's talk shows that with smart planning, financing Canadian degree is truly achievable.
Yeah, thanks also to our audience, students, parents, and educators for your curiosity and engagement.
From Canada House and everyone at CIS Astana. See you next time on CIS Astana Talks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.